Hey everybody, MichaelBtheGameGenie here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the iiRcade and 5 games they totally need to add to their games library. First things first, guys, I want to say thank you so much for checking out the video. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Today's video is all about the iiRcade. My interest personally in the iiRcade has been a little reinvigorated lately, thanks to something iiRcade did, and then thanks to something I did. The something iiRcade did was a long-time feature I asked for. They took the softening filter off the games and gave us our own screen filtering options per games. The retro games all had this softening filter. They didn't look so good, so I didn't have a lot of interest in playing retro games on this console. The other thing that I did was I invested in my iiRcade and I picked up the iiGlass, and I gotta tell you, this thing makes the games look fantastic. Now, the bezel and screen that they had previously, the screen protector, the plexiglass was okay, but I'm in a room with cats and other things that smudge up the screen a little bit. The glass makes it so much easier to clean, and honestly, we're all used to seeing these games through glass. It just looks better in my opinion. Anyways, iiRcade haven't had the strongest year in terms of game releases. A lot of people have been chomping at the bits for iiRcade to release something of note, something of interest. Now, this past weekend, they did release something of interest for me. They released Truxton. So for classic game room fans, you guys all know about Truxton. My buddy EdT1138 was a big fan too, and I was a big fan. When it came to the Sega Genesis, this was the shooter I had to pick up for the system. Truxton is badass, and let me tell you, the arcade version is even better, so I was so excited when iiRcade added it to their library. In fact, it made me go look through a bunch of other games that I'd been meaning to pick up for a while and pick those up too. And I had so much fun this weekend playing through that games library on my iiRcade. Well, all except for Double Dragon 3. This game is the shits. I wish I had paid attention to Double Dragon 3 before I picked it up, because this game is wretched. Don't buy Double Dragon 3. So anyways, it got me thinking. I love Truxton so much, but it wasn't really the arcade experience that made me think about Truxton. It was my console experience. And I got to thinking about some other arcade games that have console links that I think would be big hits for the iiRcade, that I think they should totally look at adding to their games library. Now, I've been hesitant to do one of these videos in the past, and I know other people have done it, and it always catches me off guard because the games they suggest are just so far-fetched. They're like, oh, add Marvel vs. Capcom. Listen, man, that is not happening for so many reasons. I can make a separate video about why no one's probably going to get Marvel vs. Capcom 2, so don't expect something like that. But there are realistic games that they could add to their library that aren't going to be captured by somebody else or out of the depth of what iiRcade, based on their user base and potential budget, can pick up. These are some of those games that I think would have an awesome impact. First up is a very popular arcade game that I'm surprised more people don't talk about, but again, it's one of those ones that people really remember on the console and don't think about the arcade that much, and that is Splatterhouse. Believe me, when the TurboGrafx 16 first came out, this was a console seller for that console. Everybody looked at it. They looked at the hockey mask. They looked at the connection to Jason Voorhees and the Friday the 13th series, and everybody had to play this game. Now, for those of you that are familiar with the arcade version, you know how hard it is and how close to the console version it is in terms of gameplay, difficulty, and the way that it actually plays. Like, people who always say, I hate these beat-em-up games because you can just quarter through and get to the end. This is not that game. This is a weird beat-em-up platformer type game. Not really a platformer, but anyways, you put your quarters in, you get a dedicated amount of lives, and then if you can't beat the level, it's all the way back to the beginning, so you just can't quarter your way through. The combat is a little, slow for most people, so if you like a fast-paced game, this might not be the one for you. But if you like gory scenes and dark, ominous arcade-style games, this one may be a winner for you. So I would love to see iiRcade take a run at adding Splatterhouse to the collection. I know this one's going to be a little bit hard because it is tied up with Namco, but I don't see Arcade 1-Up ever really bringing this game out. Like, it would probably have to be in a dedicated cab, and I just don't know what they could pool with it. So the first one I'm going to suggest is Splatterhouse. Next up is another one from a long-standing and super popular console game series, but it actually came out on arcade first, and it's a very different experience, and that is Ninja Gaiden. That's right, I said Ninja Gaiden, or you can call it Ninja Gaiden, up to you, but the correct pronunciation, according to the movie The Wizard, is Ninja Gaiden. Anyways, this is an arcade game that I played a ton as a kid. We had a local rec center right next to my house, and I would go up and I would drop all my money in, and god damn it, this game is hard. It's, again, not like the console. This is a very different game, and arguably the console experience might be the more impressive video game, but that doesn't mean this one isn't good in its own right. Ninja Gaiden Arcade is very challenging, very tough, but beautiful. It's got some really cool gory scenes, like the Continue will just blow your socks off. Definitely deserves a try, and I think this would be such a good fit for the iiRcade system. It'll bring those console people that love Ninja Gaiden in to experience this arcade treat on the console. Next up is one I'm actually really super surprised we haven't seen on the iiRcade already, and that is Prisoner of War. For those of you who've been following my channel for a number of years, you know I'm a big POW fan. This is another NES game that I had a long history with, absolutely love, and the arcade version is arguably way better than the NES version. So I've played it a bunch through AtGames on their arcade net. Honestly, it doesn't work that great through ArcadeNet unless you got a really super stable internet connection. So I would love to see it in the correct horizontal screen at 19 inches with beautiful graphics. Give me a chance to play through on the iiRcade. It's an SNK game, so I don't think their license is tied up with anybody right now. iiRcade, Prisoner of War is sitting out there. It's got a great beat-em-up / military experience. Everybody should try. This is arcade history that people will also connect to console video gaming and bring that experience to your system, and I think this one will be a winner for you guys. So the three I mentioned are classic arcade games with ties to console games, but I always promote this the best. Not everybody's here to play classic games on the iiRcade. This thing's a powerful system, and when we want to see some more modern gaming on it, so the next two games I'm going to throw out there are modern games, but they still follow the same format of the first two games I mentioned. First up is another entry in the Double Dragon series, except it's not Double Dragon 4. We're not going to do the numbers here. This is actually Double Dragon Neon, and the reason I want to suggest this one is it's been out for a while, it's familiar, it'll probably be a little bit easier to port to a new console and a little bit cheaper. And it's also Double Dragon. They've already got a relationship with the people from Double Dragon, so this is definitely a possibility. Double Dragon Neon hit. A lot of fans were very excited about a new experience in the Double Dragon landscape. It's a great game. It's got great music, awesome visuals, and I think it will be such a good fit for the iiRcade. I do want to apologize, though. This is the most ghetto gameplay I think I've ever captured in my life. I have this on my PlayStation 3, and I could not get the PlayStation 3 to work even with the HDMI splitter with my Elgato capture card, so unfortunately, I did this guerrilla style. I didn't want to pay for it again on Steam, so I apologize, guys. Anyways, Double Dragon Neon, if you haven't, check it out if you can. This would definitely be a winner on the iiRcade. And last but not least, this one is my home run swing because I think this is probably the most unrealistic one that John can go out there and lock down, but I think it would be such a treat. And again, it's another console game that is still a console game, never made it to the arcades, but I think would be such an amazing win for iiRcade. It's Streets Rage 4. The reason I'm all over this is, obviously, John has some kind of connection to Sega. We know that. John's already managed to get .emu games on the system. I think people would go absolutely bananas for Streets of Rage 4. Like, if there was ever a statement game that John could bring to this console and people be like, yeah, I don't ever have anything to say about they can't get big games or top games again, Streets of Rage 4 may be that game. The experience is awesome. The graphics look good. The music, of course, as a Streets of Rage game is badass. This one's a big winner for me. I've always been a good Streets of Rage game, and I'll argue till I'm blue in the face. People talk about putting the console Streets of Rage games on the arcades, but this is the one that fits on this console specifically. Anyways, guys, that's just a couple games that I think would be an amazing fit iiRcade should totally look at. These are all games that have a very good connection because they're popular arcade games, they have really strong console ties, and they shouldn't be too tied up license-wise in order to bring to the iiRcade. I think these are realistic. This isn't Marvel vs. Capcom 2. This isn't Crazy Taxi. These are games that are out there. I believe they're somewhat low-hanging fruit, and they would completely reinvigorate the iiRcade games lineup. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Are these good choices to be added to the iiRcade? Is this something you'd be excited about? And also let me know what games of the same vein, games that you think are realistic to be added to iiRcade, you would like to see added to their lineup. Anyways, guys, hope you have a wonderful night. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you next time.